Hello, everybody. My name is Shawn Warner. Pastor Ryan has asked us to share a God moment with you, and I've got one from when I was about 11 years old. My family was going on vacation to the Indiana Dunes State Park, and they love to camp, and so we went there and we set up the camp, and I helped my parents and my sisters get things set up. And it was in mid-afternoon sometime, and I thought to myself, it's like, wow, this would be a great place to go hiking. And so I asked my parents. I said, can I go hiking? Just by myself. It's such a nice day out. And much to my great surprise, they said, sure, go ahead. Just make sure you're back by dinner time. So I set off, and I was a Boy Scout. I don't need a map. I don't. This is just a beautiful day. I just want to go out and hike. And I got onto the trail, and I was hiking away, and it was a really nice day. And the forest, it was a forested trail, a dense forest, but a nice trail. I really was enjoying myself, and I noticed that the sun was starting to go down. My parents had asked me to get back by dinner, and I noticed it was getting a little bit darker, and so I started heading back, started looking for the trailhead, and I realized I couldn't find it. And so I started hiking a little bit faster. It's like it's getting darker. I came across a picnic table that was just kind of on the side of the trail, and I kind of noted that, and I kept on hiking. And about seemed like 10 minutes later, I came across that same picnic table. It's like, uh-oh, I'm going in circles. And so I took off again even faster, trying to find my way off of this trail. And I thought for sure I had taken different routes, and sure enough, I'm back right where this picnic table was. And it's like, I am stuck. And I started to get scared. And I was by myself. I hadn't seen anybody else on the trail all day. So I sat down at that picnic table, and I bowed my head, and I talked to God, and I told God, I said, I'm sorry, I was so arrogant, so silly, so foolish, to run off without a map, without really paying attention to where I was going. And I asked God to help me. I was afraid, and I was alone. I didn't know really, what was going to happen. And so while I was praying there, while I was sitting there, I heard a voice, and I quickly looked up, and sure enough, there was like eight adults, eight people standing there looking at me, praying at the table. And so I was so surprised, I jumped up off the table, and I ran up to him and says, "Oh, you're like an answered prayer so quick." And I said, I told him I'm lost. I don't know for sure where the trailhead is. And the funny response that they came back to me, they says, "Oh, we're lost too." so so I was just relieved, to be with other people. And so I hiked with this group, for a while, and I was kind of looking around as I was hiking with them, and like I said, it's getting darker now, very noticeably darker, and I happened to catch out of the corner of my eye through the trees. I just happened to catch a glimpse of my parents' tent, way off in the distance, and so I realized that the trailhead was right around the corner, and so I thanked the group, for staying with me, and they were kind of concerned, it's like, "Are you sure you know where you're going?" I says, "Yeah, my tent's right over there. My family's tent's right over there." So I ran full blast, to the beginning of the trailhead, and then through the park to my parents' campsite, and they could tell I was a bit shaken. They said, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, I've been lost," and of course I'm thinking they're worried about me, and they weren't at all. so so the Lord blessed me in that respect either. I didn't get in trouble, and so I was right back in time for dinner, but I was quite worried about it, and so so I really remembered that moment that God delivered me so quickly and so suddenly in my time of need, when I was afraid and I was alone. He came for me and took care of me, and so So I really learned that lesson about, humble yourself and pray. God's in charge. God knows what's going on. He knows where you're at. Even though, even though I didn't know where I was, God knew where I was. And so that's my God moment.